I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, November the 7th, brought to you in part by Strauss Workwear. Strauss is a tool that you wear. If you guys were watching the World Series here this past week, you couldn't have missed the Strauss advertising on there. They had stickers on the back of their helmets, had a lot of ads around the stadiums and stuff. I tell you what, they're in this thing and they want farmers and ranchers to be exposed to their workwear too. That's why they're on the feeder flash. But guys, get on their website. The holidays are coming up. Check out their brand of unique workwear there, guys. And whenever you decide what you want, you can get a 10% discount just for being feeder flash gang members. Just type Corbitt 10 in there for your special code and get a 10% discount. For more information, go to Strauss.com. Also, Unionville Livestock Market in North Central Missouri, Creston Livestock Market in South Central Iowa. Unionville's next special calf and yearling sale is coming up this Tuesday, November the 11th. If you guys can still get your calves consigned there, and buyers be looking for that coming this Tuesday. Creston had an excellent special this past Wednesday at some of the top prices that we saw all week. They're going to have regular cattle auctions every Friday here through the month. Their next special all vaccinated calf and yearling sale will be Wednesday, November the 19th. Both of those sales you can view and bid at DVAuction.com. Cattle still selling very well. I mean, I know it's been a rough 2.5, 3 weeks here, and then everybody's kind of punch drunk from all the hits they've been taking, but guys, you know, you can still enjoy this market. Cattle's still selling very well. If people told you a year ago you'd be selling cattle as high as you are now, you wouldn't have believed them. No way. We don't know what the exact reason for this thing was. We knew we were on a slippery slope and kind of over our skis maybe a bit, especially the last 6 weeks or 2 months here of this extremely high market. You know, it may have been Trump's initial tweet there that caught everybody off guard about how he thinks beef was too high and we need to import more from other countries. It may have been an overzealous cattleman's group for standing him up and provoking a second tweet that he put out that really got people's ire up and kind of got things rolling down. It could have been, you know, after we kind of had found a bottom this past week with all the talk about opening the Mexican border. We could open that Mexican border and let them stampede across, and it would not justify the 2 lockdown limit days on our board. It's just the moods, fears, emotions that's going on. You know, the one thing that hasn't changed are fundamentals. Supply and demand is exactly the same as it was 3 weeks ago. Nothing's changed. Tell you what, guys, I mean, this market, you've taken a hit here, but look, you're still selling a 500-pound steer calf from $2,200 to $2,500. That sounds pretty good if you just back out of the last couple months. It still sounds really good. You can still sell a big yearling steer weighing up in the high 8s and 9s from $3,000 to $3,400. Thursday night at the Callaway Livestock Center in Kingdom City, Missouri, they sold first calf heifers from $4,700 to $5,000. I always say your replacement market is the last to fully catch the market, and then it's the last to go down. We haven't seen a slip in that yet. They sold 4-year-old fancy black cows with 2 to 250-pound calves at their side from $5,600 to $5,650. I don't see how anybody can complain about that. The market's still really good, and let's not get so caught up in all this emotional stuff not to realize how good it is. And our imports are not going to change that all that much. We've talked about how, you know, they could even quadruple the amount of beef we were getting from Argentina. You know, it doesn't add up to like 36% of one day's kill. You know, I mean, Brazil has a lot of beef, and 2 of our big 4 packers are Brazilians. thank goodness we have the tariffs to keep them back. Even if they drop those tariffs back some, they're going to bring some in. You know, they keep talking about all these cattle from Mexico that are just waiting down there at the fence to come across, like 250,000 head. We kill 350,000 head every day in this country for slaughter. It's not enough to change the dynamics that much. In fact, 2024, just last year, which was part of this big rally, 2024, the United States imported a record amount of beef from foreign countries. Now, we would have liked for that not to be blended in and called a product of the USA. We would have liked to have that labeled where a housewife could go in and see where it could be from and make choices on what she wanted to buy then, if we could get some country of origin labeling in here. But we don't have that of yet. We've talked about it a little bit. Secretary Brooke Rollins included that in her long list of things that she wants to do to revitalize the cattle market. The futures didn't pick up on that. Nobody picked up on that and went rally up after that. You know, these people that trade, and it's mostly your funds that trade these futures, the CME cattle futures, they're the ones we rely on to take the long side. They were getting itchy feet there at those extreme tops that we were at here 3 weeks ago. They can also take advantage of when the market goes down big, and they have been taking advantage of that. You know, but they know that the fundamentals are still in our favor for a good cattle market. I told you 2024 was all-time record high for beef imports. Year to date in 2025, our beef imports are loosely up 12% from last year. So it's not that we achieved all these high prices because we haven't been taking in any foreign beef. We've been taking it all along here, guys. And I tell you what, and despite the big tariffs that have been placed on Brazil, you know, we're up quite a bit on our imports over last year. So let's just cool down. Everybody not get so excited. Appreciate the market that we have, and let's move forward on that. I'd like to give you an update on other things we do here at DVAuction besides NationalBeefWire, that gives you the latest real-time market information that you can find in industry news. If you guys aren't going on to your NationalBeefWire website or getting the automated newsletter, you're really missing out on that. The feeder flash here that I hope you watch every business day morning. I try to keep you up to date with what's going on in the industry and the latest prices and markets that's all going on about. But at DVAuction, our bread and butter is still our production sales. And October's not a big production sale month, but I want to give you the DVAuction production sale report for October there. And we always say here at DVAuction, we're often imitated, never duplicated. You know, there's a lot of startups here that are broadcasting sales. None of them have a whole office full of talented IT specialists like we do in Lincoln, Nebraska, that can fix and help people that are having IT problems. None of them have a big office full of the nicest, sweetest customer service gals that you can find anywhere in Norfolk, Nebraska. And none of them have the long list of hundreds of thousands of registered buyers that could be interested in your purebred bulls or your replacement stock like we have at DVAuction that we've acquired over the last more than 25 years of doing this stuff, guys. But during October at our DVAuction production sales, not our commercial sales, we broadcast over 140 commercial sale barns every week, but this is just your production sales. I tell you what, we had online bids of over 22,400. We sold over 3,500 lots, and our purchases totaled over $22 million. And that's October. That's not a big production sale month. Wait till we get a little deeper into the fall, and especially in the spring, we'll blow your socks off, guys. If you're having a production sale and you're not having DV auction broadcast and take online bids, you're missing out. You need to get in touch with one of us, guys. Let's talk about your board on Thursday. December live cattle futures down 175 at 218.77. February was down 137 at 216.75. That's not bad at all. And our back months on live cattle down 27 cents to down $1.05. Feeder cattle were down big, but nothing like the lockdown limits that we had there for 2 days. And it only took a day like Thursday where, you know, the market's still down, but there is some footing there, and people realize that the world's not coming to an end, to get a little bit more buyer confidence and start stepping in and bidding more aggressively on the feeder cattle that sold on Thursday. And it was not a bad day at all. I'm going to give you some pretty impressive quotes here at the end of this report. November feeder cattle down 367 at 322.05, and that is $20 to $25 under our index levels. So you know, we're getting deep into November. People they're going to start noticing, hey, those two have to come together at the end of the month. So they're going to start backing off of these sell orders, guys. January feeder cattle down 437. They don't have to meet up with January at 315.60. Your back months on feeder cattle down 450 to down 555. Look at your corn futures for December down 6.5 cents a bushel at 428 3/4. Beans were down big, you know, after being up big last week on the new export to markets that might be opening. Maybe they're not as good as what we were hoping, but January beans down 26 3/4 at 1107.5, and hard red winter wheat for December down 17 3/4 cent at 522 1/4. Kind of a rough day there for your grains. Let's talk about your fat cattle trade on a direct basis out of your major negotiated trade areas. Iowa, you know, and they're still buying cattle in the northern plains and trucking them to the southern plains for slaughter because their market ready supplies are heavier up in the northern plains than they are in the southern plains, and they'll put wheels under them and spend $6 or $7 a hundred hauling them down there rather than pushing the market anymore in the southern plains. Iowa sold 700 head on Thursday, confirmed 25,100 for the week. Live prices in Iowa on Thursday were $226 to $228.50. You know, that's $1 to $2 lower than the Wednesday market and $2 to $4 lower than last week. Nebraska sold 1,400 head, confirmed 23,300 for the week. That's all they ever sell up in the northern trade area. So they've sold all the cattle they need to sell for this week. That's about normal. Live prices in Nebraska $228 and the dress price at $355. That live price is the same trend as Iowa was there, guys. But the massive basis that these cattle feeders are looking at, with December futures at 218, selling cattle at 228, $10 basis, $12 basis in the southern plains. Kansas sold 700 head on Thursday, confirmed 1,900 is all for the week. They still need to sell more cattle in the southern plains here on Friday. 230 was the live price on Thursday in Kansas, $2 lower than Wednesday's market, $5 lower than last week. Texas sold 400 head. They've sold 5,000 in Texas, confirmed they may not sell many more in Texas. Live price in Texas on Thursday was $230. This is the cheapest fed cattle market we've had since May. Fat cattle auction had in Sheldon, Iowa. They had no comparison. The market wasn't reported the previous week, but conventional fed cattle and a few program cattle selling from $220.75 to $228. Box beef cutout values were mixed again on Thursday. With the afternoon report, choice cuts were down 29 cents at $377.97. Your selects were up 51 cents at $360.76. Slaughter up through Thursday, your estimated cattle slaughter was 456,000. That's 1,000 less than last week at this point, 40,000 less than this point a year ago. Let's talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services, they are your LRP specialists, guys. All of you guys, or not all of you, but a lot of you guys in the cattle business are wishing that you had taken out LRPs 2.5 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah, hindsight's 20/20. You can't look back, guys. But you need to be watching now for more opportunities to protect your risk. Just because we fell out of bed this far doesn't mean we don't have that much farther or more to go. But you can get in touch with Livestock Risk Services. Visit with them about where you want to be, what kind of protection level you feel comfortable with. Fill out an application with them. Then when you're ready, bang, you can do it. So don't realize you all of a sudden need to do it this one afternoon and then you still have all the paperwork and stuff to do. Get that filled out with them where you can make a quick decision there. For more information, go to livestockriskservices.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood. Your real-time index from DVAuction late in the day on Thursday, after all your auctions had concluded, was sitting at 343.40 based on an 800-pound cash auction steer. That was down 208. We're still falling. That's up to date and current. Your steer tracker, which is the last 25 lots of 5 head or more that go into that index, we're sitting at 330.19. So likely it's got a little bit more to fall. Your CME cash feeder cattle index is way behind at 347.82, but it'll be down there to those updated levels there within a couple of days. Here at DVAuction, we're still adding new sale barns to our family of broadcasted barns. The boys hooked up Torrington livestock markets on Thursday. They will be broadcasting from Torrington here today on Friday for the first time ever. We also added Monroe, Indiana. We'll be going out and hooking them up before long, and you'll be able to bid and buy online there at Monroe, Indiana before long, guys. Let's talk about some other sales this weekend that you might be interested in. Nevada Livestock Marketing is going to have near 3,000 head for their special feeder cattle auction coming up here today on Friday. I talked to Jack. He's got some real impressive strings. Got one string of like 6 loads of yearlings, guys. Where are you going to find those? Way out there west of the mountains. But that's going to be on DVAuction.com. And then Modoc Auction Yards in Alturas, California has got a feeder cattle special coming up on Saturday. They're going to have around 1,500 head there, and they'll be good quality cattle. Got some replacements in there. If you're interested in those, get on to DVAuction.com to view and bid that sale. Let's talk about your big sales that happened on Thursday. Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas had a good sale, 3,300 head. Feeder cattle were not well tested. It was a calf special. The calves were selling $10 to $30 lower. We hate to say that. It sounds bad, but when the prices are this high, percentage-wise, it's not a whole lot lower than what we used to remember as being a down day, guys. But they did have some reputation and some cattle with some thin condition, advantageous to the buyer that sold near steady or a little bit higher there, especially in your steers around 500 pounds. And the most impressive quote that I saw come out of Pratt on Thursday was 83 head of 494 pound steers that brought 525. They haven't been a whole lot higher than that anytime, guys. That's a pretty good quote. How about Ogallala Livestock Auction in Ogallala, Nebraska? Big special for them on Thursday. They're a DV auction broadcaster as well. 6,000 head for the big calf special. Wow. The market reporter kind of punted the trend there. That always has frustrated me. But whenever you're a government market reporter punted the trend, he said lower undertones. Yeah, no shit. And he said, except for a spark of interest on your light 5 weights, and they sold the best, which they're selling the best everywhere. That's what people want to buy to turn out on wheat. But Ogallala was your Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard Livestock Handling Equipment. Stick out sale of the day. Look at this automated marker report through Cattle Market Central, and you see your best tested weights. Go along with me there. 406 head of 3-weight steers. They had enough 3-weight steers to really test the market. They averaged 380 pounds with a weighted average price of $567.24. Tell me that's terrible. How about 1,474 head of the 4-weight steers, average 459 at $499.03. 1,588 head of 5-weight steers, ranch raised, be as good as walks, guys. Average 543 with a weighted average price on all of those of $436.48. 498 head of the 6-weight steer calves, average 640 at $382.47. Now look at the heifers, and Ogallala had more heifers than most of the special calf sales we've been seeing up in that country on Thursday. 172 head of the 3-weight heifer calves, averaged 367 with a weighted average price of $478.44. 846 head of the 4-weight heifers, averaged 462 at $439.62. There were 400 head of 5-weight heifer calves in Ogallala on Thursday. They averaged 542 at $394.34. 163 head of the 6-weight heifers, averaged 622 at $355.31. And 203 of the 8-weight feeder heifers there in Ogallala averaged 834 at $321.56. Pretty good. The most impressive individual quote that I saw come out of Ogallala was 110 498 pound steers, right at 500 pounds, bring 491. Big time quote, guys. How about some other individual quotes from all over the circuit there? How about Belle Fourche Livestock Market, Belle Fourche, South Dakota? They sold 51 Pee-wee steer calves, weighed 365 at $637.50. Wow. How about Intermountain Livestock Exchange in La Grande, Oregon? DVAuction broadcaster there. 95 head, 498 pound steers, way out west at $486. Mitchell Livestock Marketing up in Mitchell, South Dakota. Watch them and view and bid on DVAuction. 61 head of 1,025 pound steers bring $332. That's a lot of money. How about Napoleon Livestock, another DVAuction broadcaster? 67 steers weighed 806 at $359.50. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Platte, South Dakota Livestock Market. Tell you what, and this was actually early Thursday morning. It was from their late Wednesday sale that ran over midnight, so it come up on Thursdays when I drew them, but I had to give it to you. It was so big. 60 head of 945 pound steers in Platte, South Dakota brings $361. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.